The commentary that I'm about to do is on a video that the guys over at Bunch of Pseudo Intellectuals already did a commentary on. So why am I doing a commentary on it myself? Especially since their commentary was nearly 4 months ago now. Well, the primary reason will be given at the end of the video. For now, fuck you, I do what I want.
Before I start this commentary, I have one thing to say to David Wash 3R3 and Ryan Rhino Mills. Bring it on!
My IQ's the infinite space from here to the moon.
How come no one's ever pointed out how ironic his intro song is? Especially considering that he's just proven that he doesn't know what lead speak is? I mean, it's clearly supposed to be David Washer 3. And from here on in, I'm going to be substituting all of the footage of the original video as provided by Matthews' commentary with the original video. Because Matthews' commentary includes this white bar thing on the side, and also because he eats out all the swear words. And to me, these got really distracting really fast.
Now before I start complaining about shit, I should talk about the one really good thing about this episode, and that's the song. The song kicks ass. In fact, I think it's probably my favorite song of the whole series. It's just so weird and dark and tonally different from the kind of songs we're used to from this show. Megan compared it to Danny Elfman, and if that's what they were going for, they nailed it. With its gloomy, grumpy horns and spidery violins, it sounds like something you'd hear in hell.
Oh, so that's why you call this Fluttershy Goes to Hell. Yeah, I see. I still think it's stupid, and first of all, I'm pretty sure a song you hear in hell would be a bad song. Like, it would make your ears bleed when you listen to it. If it's a good song, it wouldn't be in hell because it sounds good.
Excuse me, sir, but how the hell do you know what music plays in hell? If you can't answer that, I'm just going to assume that it's just the devil playing a really good fiddle.
Because of how seamless the first switch from Applejack to Fluttershy was, you expect the switch back to be just as seamless, and all your instincts about rhythm tell you that the line should go like this. These bats are mamas and papas too, they care for their young just like we do. I'll suck my dick, you yellow pink bitch. You see what I mean?
The sad part here is that he's actually trying to make a good point here, but he ruins it by saying the most perverted line in the world.
Dude, you haven't heard Critical.
Just look at that one man taking a face full of dick like a champ, just getting pummeled by a wiener. And he just powers through it. Just look at this. Look at the slow motion assault. Just the crotch destruction of that man's face.
Now disregarding the fact that I sing like an amputee.
Yeah, sir. Let's all laugh at the physically disabled. That's funny, isn't it?
Sarcasm self-test complete.
Hey, guess who didn't get the joke? No text, it was Matthews. Thing is, he was making fun of himself with that joke, comparing himself to amputees with the visual aid kind of explaining the joke, if you really think about it. And besides, making fun of the mentally disabled is better anyways.
Okay, now that I'm finally done talking about the part I liked, I can get back to telling you all why I've arbitrarily decided to hate this episode. One thing I did not appreciate is how right off the bat, this episode relies on hoof waving and overly convenient contrivances to stop Fluttershy from just solving the problem immediately, like she should be able to.
If Fluttershy solved the problem immediately, we wouldn't have an episode.
And except for the song, nothing of value would have been lost.
And why are you using Fluttershy as your avatar? Well, this guy, isn't he your avatar? Use him. You made him.
I think it's less he's using Fluttershy as an avatar, and more he was just talking about Fluttershy, so it's pretty relevant to use Fluttershy images. And it really doesn't matter whether or not Horseshoe is using his own character or Fluttershy as an avatar. If you're really bothered by this, then I'm hoping what I do next will take you off. 1 second, I'm an ancient echidna girl. Next, bam, I'm a king.
This is the first vampire fruit bat I've ever met, and, well, it might take some time for me to really understand their language.
Uh-huh.
That's a valid excuse.
Hey, what was Applejack's response to Fluttershy again?
Uh-huh.
I thought so.
What's the problem? You've used the stair plenty of times before.
Yes, but it's not something I take lightly. I've made a vow not to use it except in dire circumstances. There's some good chickens.
Did it ever occur to you that maybe Fluttershy was lying because she didn't want to use her stare to basically let Twilight use mind control on those poor bats?
I'm pretty sure it did cross his mind that Fluttershy could have lied. But whether or not Fluttershy lied or the show's writing is inconsistent, Fluttershy's testimony had a contradiction in it, and Horseshoe pointed it out with evidence. Oh, and also this.
Despite this, I think the episode started out pretty strong. The conflict between AJ and Fluttershy about the bats was really interesting and had a lot of potential. They could have just made the episode about that, but they didn't. Instead, they went in completely the opposite direction by turning Fluttershy into a godless abomination that I would not have sex with.
Oh, so you're one of those freaking pedophiles, those sexual perverts that give bronies a bad name.
1, it's more zoophilia than pedophilia. 2, it's more of a joke than zoophilia. And 3, the people who are dragging the brony name through the mud are idiots who do stupid shit. I.e., you.
Unless I was drunk. Like, really belligerently, irresponsibly drunk. We're talking rainbow draft levels of inebriation here.
Who's that lady on the magazine?
And I am not kidding here. The next 3, 4, 5 minutes of this review is just him sitting in a bathroom, pretending to be drunk, staring at that stupid magazine, talking in a drunken, stupid voice for 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Horseshoe's joke lasted 1 minute and 3 seconds, not 3 minutes. This may be the math lover coming out for a second, but when you fuck up math this badly, you don't deserve to have the rest of your point be spoken. Like, seriously, are you really that bad at math?
Think of the cider. Won't some pony please think of the cider?
Ugh. Something about that line rubs me the wrong way.
That line was funny. And you're the one who made the rainbow draft joke, so you're kind of being hypocritical here.
You're a hypocrite because I didn't like your joke. Also, I found the rainbow draft joke to be better than the apple cider joke. Does that make me a hypocrite? Fuck you, Text. No, don't go. I need you.
It seems kind of forced and corny. In fact, a lot of the dialogue in this episode was not good.
Fluttershy, you're our animal expert.
It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
If you're going to make a reference, make it a reference that people are going to know.
Want to know this really awesome thing about references? There's always going to be someone who'll get the reference. Or, you know, spend the 30 seconds it takes to look it up on Google.
The witching hour.
What? Why would you say that? What is the context of that statement? You could have just as easily had the ponies looking scared and apprehensive without that line. Show don't tell.
Don't you remember Sleepless in Ponyville when Rainbow Dad was telling all those spooky stories? That's her character. She likes to do that.
There's a difference between a character being well characterized and being well written. And speaking of bad writing...
Bad writing. Boo.
Alright, I got my bad referencing boo joke from Flying in Horseshoes. I admit it. Give him the credit. Okay.
So let me get this straight. This whole bad referencing joke that you had was in and of itself a reference to another person. A person who, prior to your commentary, I had no knowledge that this person even existed. Well, if we're gonna go by your logic, bad referencing. Boo!
The writers sure do seem to enjoy subverting Fluttershy's cutiness. So far, they've turned her into a vampire bat monster, a raging Hulk, and even a dirty, kikey Jew.
Why are you making fun of the Jews now? That's really pathetic that you have to resort to Jew jokes. That's really sad. That's pathetic. That's the lowest form of comedy, even below toy humor.
I hate to tell you this, but if you can't take the heat, get out of the oven.
It's not Fluttershy. That's Flutterbat.
This dialogue is so fucking blatant and lazy. It's not clever at all. It's not even trying to be clever. Even the title of the episode is lazy and uncreative. Bats? Just bats? That's it? Really? Usually the episode names are based on a clever pun or some kind of tongue-in-cheek reference to something. But nope, just bats. Is it supposed to be a reference to the movie Bats from 1999?
Yes, of course it is. And that's brilliant. That's ingenious to reference that movie.
No, it isn't. First reason, this.
No fucking way. I call bullshit. That is pointlessly obscure even for me.
Second, the episode's title is actually a reference to Cats, the musical. It's still pretty fucking stupid, but I digress. And third, this.
Look, I'll prove it. There are so many better things you could have called this episode. Night of the Meek, Blind Panic, Fangs for Asking, Full Dark No Stairs, Moonlit Mayhem, Appetite for Destruction, Bats in Her Bell Tree, Low Hanging Fruit, Apple Flutter, Fluttershy becomes a fucking vampire. These are just off the top of my head.
Alright, I have to admit, those titles do sound good.
But the reference to bats was
No other
ingenious.
explanation I can think of for how lazy the dialogue, plot contrivances, and even the title itself are. What fucking amateur wrote this shit? Meriwether Williams? Never heard of her. Sounds like some kind of corny 70s sitcom about a ditzy, curly-haired lesbian who don't take no guff.
If this is how he reacts to one of the writers getting made fun of, I wonder how he'd react if one of the animators got made fun of. What, are we gonna pull out some Family Guy clips for that one?
Just look at Twilight's contrived, idiotic explanation of Fluttershy's vampirism.
Okay, so this is me, these are the bats, and this is Fluttershy doing her stare. The spell was supposed to go right onto the bats like this. But somehow the spell must have backfired. It took the vampire fruit bat's desire to be vampire fruit bats and transferred that desire into Fluttershy.
Yep, okay, makes perfect sense. No, I have no objections. If that's what you say happened, then who am I to argue? Oswald, carry on, I don't care, fuck this bullshit, I quit, go to commercial!
It's a magical world of talking ponies. It's not gonna always make perfect sense. And from what we got, it kinda does make sense in a weird way.
Spoilers, he never goes on to say how it makes sense, he just says, it makes sense. Even though the best explanation the show gave us was,
But somehow.
So somehow they reckon they can use mirrors to get Fluttershy to use her stare on herself, to reverse the polarity of the neutron flow, make her normal again. Yeah, makes about as much sense as a collection plate in a synagogue.
Stop insulting the Jews!
well, maybe you should stop being a Jew. Wait, you are a Jew, right?
You know what's the worst thing about this episode? I was watching it on a stream, and as soon as it ended, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas started playing. And that's how I was left there, alone, with all the tortured voices in my own head, cutting my hands, collecting the scattered shards of my broken soul, drifting alone in this black void of madness with no company but the echoing of my own screams throughout the vast silence of the emptiness inside me for all eternity.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay.
Are you going to do anything?
Well, since you're that impatient,
Don't you do it! Oh no! Don't you dare do it! Don't you
plot twist, he shot you.
This was the worst review I've ever seen in my entire life! It was terrible! The jokes were stupid, the arguments were stupid, the jokes were stupid, and the jokes were offensive!
Did I forget to mention that the jokes are stupid?
We have good people like Dr. Wolf channel is being taken down. Okay, luckily though, Dr. Wolf got his channel back, so that's good. But we got this guy who doesn't go through any trouble, makes to take his channel down!
Being good or bad has no bearing on whether or not your channel gets taken down. It's if YouTube thinks they're violating any of its community guidelines. And believe it or not, but dark humor does not violate any of them.
I know he's an actor, I know he's playing a character. He probably does not act like this in real life. But look, if you're gonna go through told act that way, that shows what's in your heart.
What about a person who has to play two conflicting roles? Mark Hamill had to play Luke Skywalker and the Joker, and I'm not sure if you know this, but they're not quite the same people.
The jokes are awful. He swore like a million times. I had to cut out all of his swears. He swore like 20 times in this video.
First you say he swore a million times, then you say he swore 20 times. The difference is 999,980. You really are that bad at math.
He makes fun of Jews, he makes fun of suicide. This guy is awful. This guy is terrible. Do not watch this guy's videos. Do not subscribe to his channel. And if you ever see one of his videos, thumbs down.
True story. Immediately after watching this part of the commentary, I went to Horseshoe's channel, gave the review a like, and subscribed to him. I'm sure he's thankful for the vlog, Matthews. Now, if I could be serious for just a moment, I'd like to talk about why I did a commentary in the first place. So I decided to go to the Pop commentary, and I saw that Matthias left a comment. And in it, he talked about how suicide is something that should not be joked about. And to back up his point, he brought up the recent suicide of Robin Williams. Are you shitting me? Like, really? Are you that desperate to cover your own ass that you're willing to bring up the suicide of a comedic legend to try and strengthen your own point? It's not like your point would have worked anyways, because Horseshoe didn't make that suicide joke with Robin Williams' death in mind, because Robin Williams wasn't dead at the time. In fact, Robin Williams didn't die until months after his review, your commentary, or even the Bop commentary. And even if somehow Horseshoe did make that suicide joke with Robin Williams' suicide in mind, oh well, it's a dark joke. If it was a bad dark joke, I might be able to understand a little more, but it's still a dark joke. Dark jokes, even about Robin Williams, can still work. And then you mentioned that your commentaries aren't supposed to be taken seriously. Then why the fuck were you serious about frickin' Horseshoe making dark jokes? Like, oh, you can't make Jew jokes. Oh, you can't make a suicide joke. So when you joke, we're not supposed to take it seriously, but when Horseshoe makes a joke, you call it the worst review ever. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? So I'm supposed to ignore that you brought up this? Bringing up Robin Williams' death did not help your argument in the slightest. If you're bringing it up as a joke, it's very hypocritical of you to make a dark joke and say, oh, it's trying to be humorous, but when he brings up a dark joke, you take it fucking seriously. It doesn't do anything but hinder yourself and makes you look fucking shallow. Fuck you. You know what? I don't think we should end this commentary on a sour note, so how about a joke? So, a Jew walks into a bar